Yingsha.
Here she comes, and don't the fans know it, going for her 4th WTT Grand Smash title overall, and it would be her 2nd of the season after a win at the Singapore Smash 2025. Yingsha is in the Renaissance Arena as she takes on Hana Goda, the brilliant young Egyptian player. So as we saw, we've seen all sorts of action going on around our various tables in the Smash Arena, but now our focus is entirely on what happens here. Best of 5, which of course always gives the underdog, as it were, an opportunity to come up with a victory. It's a one-to-love head-to-head record. That meeting coming not long ago. In fact, it was Las Vegas at the US Smash, and it was an absolute thriller. And that saw Yingsha pushed all the way by her young opponent before winning 3-2, 11-7 in the 5th against Hana Goda, who will feel she might have had a chance of actually winning it. Aladdin Kanani is the umpire for this one.
And Emily Knudsen from Sweden.
And he's just waiting for the players to come to him before we get into the very tantalizing prospect of this rematch and what it might bring.
Have red, yellow. Choose red, yellow. Yellow, what's your choice? Proceed.
All right, decision made. Hana Goda is already a bundle of kinetic energy, and the 17-year-old is facing Chinese opposition for the 2nd time in as many events. In Yokohama, she was beaten fairly convincingly by Si Sunyao, another of the many great Chinese players. Adam Bobru witnessed that match and has seen plenty of Yingsha and plenty of Hana Goda, for that matter, down the years. Is she getting taller, Adam? She looks that way.
Yeah, she's grown up in many senses. I feel like she's getting taller, she's getting more mature, she's getting stronger at the table. This is a player who's come close many times and recognizes that close doesn't cut it. When your job is to win, you know, losing closely to the world #1 and beating world #1 is night and day in terms of what it does to your career, what it does to your record. Respect from the player on the other side of the table, but Hana Goda is determined.
Here she is, Yingsha. There's very little we can say about her that's new, but we can talk about her in terms of her amazing numbers. She holds an incredible service win percentage rate based on all the players that have been active in recent times in WTT series events. She's up near 60%, but look at that pedigree there. Best tier results. Winner of Singapore Smash 2023, China Smash 2024, Singapore Smash 2025. She knows how to go all the way in the very elite level of this sport.
We saw that 91% WTT win rate. That's unbelievable. One thing that stood out to me earlier was the shots when they showed her laughing and enjoying herself before the match, and Hana as focused as can be. Now, we don't really know when those moments are exactly, so it's completely possible that they were at different times. But speaking of times, look at this last time they met. United States Smash, the only time that they've ever met in any competition. And it came down to the wire, a decider, game #5 for the young Hana Goda versus the most dominant woman in table tennis in the world.
And of course, Hana Goda, as we remarked at the time, has had a habit of pushing the very best of the Chinese stars all the way. We saw that in Chongqing last year, and we know that she's a mercurial player, the kind of player that the Chinese will fear, because they'll know that on her day she can bring a vibe, if you follow your WTT promos, that is unlike any other player. But it's Yingsha, and it's 81% of the vote at WorldTableTennis.com in support of her. Speaking of support,
The first game, soon to serve, level.
that's an interesting start. Straight away, an issue with the ball.
This is the level. This is when you're so good at table tennis, you toss it, even if it was one of the 15 you chose, and you're like, you know what? I think one of the other 14 would be better.
Love.
Well, this is a sharp
One.
start. Hana Goda's incidentally, Adam, also playing in the Youth Smash. She's very happily back here in Sweden. She played when she was, what, 14. She played here club table tennis 3 years ago. She had a record of 48 wins and 2 losses in that time.
Jeez.
1 all.
You mentioned how strong Hana can be against Chinese players. We have to remember a player who's beaten Sun Yingsha in recent history twice, Chen Xingtong, is 0-1 against Hana Goda.
Yeah.
2-1.
She should really have had a win against Chen Meng as well, to her name. She's a player who can mix it with the best.
One, 3.
But maybe in the same way when we were talking about Miwa Harimoto, when you've accelerated in your career and you've achieved so much at a very young age, the next level, as you were alluding to earlier on, is what now becomes the talking point. Interesting to see just how far Hana can go. And we don't have to think too far back, Adam, do we, to Yokohama? And she really was second best in that encounter with another of the very talented Chinese players.
Son, please play. 2-3.
A lot of movement in this point as they dance around the table, constantly reconstructing, repositioning to get in. So the player that you were mentioning earlier, Shi Yao, putting up a good fight as she does. For me, the most impressive performance I've seen from her was in Yokohama. So quite a statement. Hana Goda, as you mentioned, with many of the best in the world, has gone toe-to-toe. That was not one of them, if I remember correctly.
No, she was second best. She just looked a little bit out of sorts, Hana, a week or so ago in Japan.
Making sure you got a clear view in the front row.
Oh, wow.
3-5.
Blistering speed here, smothers this one, takes it on the rise. Hana Goda quick to turn. Now in a game of speed, this is a little bit anticipation. This is definitely full commitment and fearlessness. I think these are going to be factors for Hana Goda here. She wants to cross the finish line in this match. Long way to go still, but she's leading. Nice change of pace.
It's the approach that you expect from her, Hana. She brings the game. She's very, very front foot, shall we say.
This is so tough to do, to slow the ball down in an open rally against someone so strong. The Hina Hayata against your Wang Yidi. Low handled on the long serve, coming fast into that backhand.
And there's the vocals from Hana as well.
As soon as she sees the serves coming long, she turns the racket down, puts the thumb up high, and then bends the wrist back for a bit of spin. Wow. The long serves, the speed game. I mean, she is going straight into the sun on this.
She's come out absolutely flying. You saw Hisham Ishmael, the coach, on his feet already. They've decided to go full attack here. Would you look at that? Hana Goda serving at 100% success rate.
3.
Still.
9.
Yeah, compared to the 50, twice as successful on serve. Game number 1 against a defender. Okay, we saw it with Honoka Hashimoto, a match that was incredible, Sun Yingsha. But against an attacker out here, this is a very determined Hana Goda.
Great coverage
3,
again.
10.
Wow, she means business. Look at that. 7 game points against the world #1, the top seed.
Handles the side spin coming in, everything. If the scoreline were the exact opposite right now, it wouldn't make you blink.
Oh my goodness. And what a way to get it done. She won't want this to stop right now, Hana Goda. We've got a story on our hands here. She did take the first game the last time they met, remember, And so therefore we have to temper our excitement. But wow, what a statement here in Malmo. 11-3 to the Egyptian. All sorts of excitement happening in the Smash Arena. We've brought you some great matches and great results from there. How about this for the finale? What a thriller. An Jae-hoon getting home in an absolute cliffhanger against Thibaut Poret in the men's singles round of 64. And talking about Koreans, a mini upset in some ways, I guess. Gao Chung-rae has gone out of this event, beaten by Cho Da-sung. 3-1, 11-9 there.
We have to remember, Cho Dae-sung beat Fan Jun-dong when he was world #1. He's dangerous, he's explosive. When he's on, he is really tough to play. And Thibaut Poret, you'll have a chance to see on table 1 right here inside the Renaissance Arena to end out session #2 tonight.
But what is happening on table 1 right now? Hana Goda has just dismantled the world's best in the first game. We won't get too carried away, but boy, oh boy, what a statement.
The second game, Goda to serve, love all.
And it
love.
must be that she's still sitting on that perfect service winner percentage, right?
Well, statistically, this is true. How much of a factor that is in terms of her confidence. I think sometimes confidence breeds confidence. Maybe success breeds confidence. A bit of both. There's a phrase in there.
Bit of self-coaching as well there. Little shake of the head. Got that wrong.
So that is now the first point won by Sun Yingsha to break the perfect service record against Hana Goda this match.
There we go. When you give her a chance, just getting herself warmed up, going through the gears. I wonder if Shasha ever gets taken aback by anything. This start by Hana Goda must have raised an eyebrow.
So a few things we've seen already. Shasha slowing down the game a little bit, playing with more spin. She's gone wide to the forehand in the point before with hooking side spin. This one just loads it. Again, you can have just as much racket speed and slow the ball down based on the contact, how thin and fine it is.
It's a great point you make about slowing it down. I mean, Hana came out like an express train, didn't she, in this one? I actually literally bumped into her as she made her way into breakfast this morning. Had me wondering what on earth she must have fueled herself with after this start today, Hana.
Well, you're a strong guy. I mean, did she move?
That's why I said she's got taller. She's an imposing figure these days. Oh, wow. Edges it. Remember also, Hana is studying for a degree in psychology. She's at a university in England. And interesting to see what that brings to her mental approach as well.
I'm sorry, I'm still curious. You literally bumped into her?
Yeah, I just came up through the door, and there she was. One of those, whoops, sorry.
Oh, I see.
Not the sort of...
Figuratively, okay, got it.
Yeah, but it was, you know...
I was like, how did that happen? Did you guys just not see each other? Or... Now I understand.
4-3.
But she was definitely in the zone. You can tell that much. And the approach to this match so far, Adam, has been superb from the Egyptian.
It's surprising to me that she's come out playing so fast. Generally, if you want to beat someone on top of the world from Team China, playing the speed game is not your best chance. Shallow and spinny, good change here. Hana Goda using the in and out tactic very well. In the land of Sweden, where Waldner comes from, using that shorter, shallow spin shot can be priceless. Very effective, tough to adjust to, and tough to recognize for the opponent.
Oh, she can't hang in there any longer.
It was a wonderful rally, a little bit of fortune at the end. Shasha in English able to quickly express that, but keeping Hana behind the table. Hana's good from all over the court. Little slip there and then catching the edge to make it divert. Eek. Hope I timed that right. Ooh.
Wow. All.
I mean, this is a punishing receive, yet Hana doesn't budge. Keeps the racket high. Watch this. Serve just a little high. And not just does she keep it high, but she adds interest to it. Really puts some forward motion on that ball.
They don't waste time.
You think that was the second time they were told don't waste time?
Yeah.
Six, 5.
The ironic thing is, if you were taking your own medicine there, you just give a yellow card, right?
Yeah. I mean, the first time actually was directed specifically at Shasha from our umpire, Hana.
Well, this is good then. It was very courteous of him to say, look, I recognize that this is not a one-person thing in this moment.
5, 7.
Strawberry carries a bit wide here. It's not the first time we've seen Hana Goda use it.
But it won't deter her from playing it, will it? It won't deter her from an approach which has been adventurous from the start here.
Yeah, you could feel that she wanted to get a little bit more up motion as she brushes up there, as opposed to straight side spin, adding some top spin to that shot. You talked about her physical, just sort of growth. Hana getting taller. I feel like she's getting more and more imposing. I remember when she stepped onto the scene, it felt like she was about half the height she is now.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of feeling. She's got a lot of flair on the table. She's good from anywhere on the court, but now when she really puts in that forehand, it's tough.
9,
Just a
5.
little bit less spin on this one as she goes for the short side of the table. But yeah, she has more power than she used to.
And what's really interesting is to think that she's competing, and has done for some time now, at the top level of the sport, while still growing into her body.
Maybe others
6.
know exactly what you're talking about. I've experienced this. It is pretty shocking. For a lot of people, they lose coordination if they have such a fast growth spurt.
Yeah, that's right. Typically, where you expect your body to be for a certain shot just changes. The dimensions change.
Remind me to tell you a story about this later.
That was
7, 9.
a big assist from the net and a big sorry from Hana, but it's still a 2-point cushion for Shasha.
I think the amount of side spin coming into that net ball made it so difficult. You could see it just grip, bite off of Shasha's racket. The craziest thing about this is you only see one ball, but you see two umpires. Explain me this.
7, 10.
And here's her opportunity to level things up in games. Shasha, 3 game points.
Lee Da-chung there up on his feet. He's been working with many of the younger women for Team China.
Seven game to Son.
So there we are then. It's all square. Remember, Shasha was 2-1 down in Vegas against Hana Goda, so these two are delivering again. So, having lost the first 11-3, Yingsha takes the second 11-7. Yingsha has just taken measure of an opponent who came at her in a ferocious assault in the first game here in this women's singles round of 64 encounter at Europe Smash Sweden 2025, and this one already living up to its top table billing.
Sun to serve, love on. One, love.
It's incredible how she's able to assimilate what's happening, impose her will upon a match, and then start to dictate, Shasha.
What I like is that there's something going on beneath the surface that might not meet the common eye. Ma Lin roars with a cho on that for a big reason. And what that is sometimes you have a conversation with your player. You have a game plan, a tactic, and your player wins a point doing the difficult, what feels like something that might not be easily done and yet perfectly executes. And that's what Shasha did on the first point. The details, we'll keep our eyes open, observe. A long serve here into the middle gets Shasha leaning back just a little bit. Gutsy long serve, side and top spin, right into the middle, well placed.
Of course, the question is now, what's the adjustment that Hisham Ismail and Hana Goda will have come up with during their tete-a-tete?
Two, three.
Well placed there again, not to the wide forehand, but just a little bit inside, closer to the elbow. She's really well calibrated to this heavy topspin. Again, Shasha with that very thin brushing shot, the amount of spin generated on that full stroke, it's low. Hana leaning forward, keeping that racket closed, taking it early.
How do players typically prepare to play Shasha?
It's a great question. I think, well, they're going to study a lot of video. They're going to talk to an expert if they have that resource, if they have a coach to analyze with. There's plenty of footage out there. But I think there's going to be a lot of breathing and visualization as well. When I say a lot of breathing, I mean exercises about that to make sure that you're in the zone when you play. When you watch players before a match, they can be the nicest, most social people you've ever met, but before a match, they won't even make eye contact with you. That's how much mental preparation and how much focus is required at this level of play.
And one would imagine you've also got to prepare yourself for the inevitability that there will be long periods in the match when things don't go your way, because it's Shasha. In soccer terms, they talk about you got to suffer sometimes. You hear that a lot from the elite level coaches.
That's exactly right. She does adjust so quickly.
Tried that fanning return again here, but then she was under pressure, wasn't she, Hana?
Yeah, it was a last resort effort because she was struck right on the elbow. Watch the placement of this shot. It was pick a side, and in the time it takes to decide, it's not easy. Very expressive always, Hana Goda. I love that Shasha fan art in the front row from the little kid.
Ooh, she nearly got there.
4, 6.
A little bit slappier of a shot inside the table. Shasha working well, earns a height. Well, a higher shot there to get behind. It was a fine combination, not a completely flat shot, but the sound, less spin than usual. Short, tight serve, side and top spin. Can be very effective out here, as we saw the stats after even the second game had started. Hana Goda with a flawless service record until Shasha turned that around on the second point.
If you think back to the last time we saw Shasha in action, again, it wasn't that long ago. It was in Yokohama. And it was one of her teammate, someone who knows her well, that eventually bested her. But she looked good, didn't she, up until that point in Yokohama?
There was 1 point she played against Shu Yao. I feel like it was maybe the second point in game 3, possibly a different one, that made me think, how is anybody going to beat Xia?
Once again, she was forced into that improvised fanning return and then couldn't go wide.
That moment right there to recover from that slip. Hana did well to get back into the point. She's good behind the table. She's got more wingspan than that of Xia. That said, trying to stay a little bit closer to the table will help her cause. As it does here, right inside the baseline or just about with that backhand. There's the touch inside. Okay, barely behind the baseline, but either way, a lot of wrist, very free play, heavy spin to get her back within 2. This felt like a Tomo tactic here. She took the spin off and just softly guided it up to keep it in play. Again, if you can make a pattern that's unpredictable, it's tough for the opponent to prepare. That flatter shot, that punch with the same shape as Truls on the racket. Same tactic there with that backhand punch.
Hurried it up with the serve there, but she's trying all she can, but it's not working. And it looks now very much as if Xiaoxiao's figured a few things out here, because she gets herself in a position to win the third to make a 2-1 lead. Which she does. So in the grand scheme of things, if you look back to Vegas, this is actually going far better for the world #1 here. She trailed by 2-1 there. She's leading by 2-1 here in Malmo.
It's a game of adaptation. Survival is not the fittest, but she who is most able to adapt. And that is her, Yingsha, the world #1, leading 2-1.
Let's just leave there for the time being and have a check-in on table 3 in the Smash Arena, where it's Yukiya Uda getting past Im Jong-hoon in straight games. That's an impressive result. And then Sabine Winter, who's a great talking point. We were doing plenty of talking about her in Japan. Gets past Natalia Bayo, 3-love. So it looks as if the anti-spin is working for Sabina just fine.
But with Luka Mladenovic on to the next round of the men's singles as well. For the first time in a long time, we've got some big names with anti-spin on both the men and women's side of the playing field. Sabine Winter with a 10-8 lead against Wang Yidi. Really still reinventing herself and improving. What are you thinking?
Just thinking the dynamics shifted so suddenly here. Now it's Hana Goda serving to survive, to stay in this. Without really dropping the standard of her play substantially. It's just that Xia has upped hers, has found answers, has done what she does.
And on this one goes inside out with a little bit of a fan, the wrist back to brush the ball inside out slightly.
And hearing you describe that, Xia has such an armory, such an array of shots she can turn to, and we're seeing that. But Hana's got to somehow find a way of living with that. Oh.
This is too good. Again, props to Hana Goda for hanging in there for all the adjustments that were made in the early part of this rally. And a big punch, but it comes back wide out to that backhand line.
And you can never tire of seeing Xia generate that kind of power. Oh, wow. Hana threw everything at her and still loses the point.
Yeah, just crazy to think about the quality in this rally. The second forehand, I mean, she was lunging forward. Malin up on his feet quickly, but it's a lot to recover from with all that forward motion and the big, expensive forehand stroke. 12 of the last 16 points for Shasha.
1-4.
And then a big break for a 3-point lead, and this is getting away from the young Egyptian very, very fast right now. Timeout called, no great surprise about that. And it's almost, well, not quite a Hail Mary time, but they need to throw something up in the air and see what works. So this one may well be coming to a conclusion that is quicker than we would have thought after that first game. But let's remind you what's coming up next. And there he is, Felix Lebrun up against Jang Woo-jin. Another Korean opponent, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Felix has been speaking about that as well. And he's all focus as he comes up against somebody who he knows very well. Somebody looking to emulate An Jae-hun and get past the talented Frenchman.
You don't think about it until it comes down to it, but the neck, my goodness, if you have a stiff neck, good luck playing table tennis. Jang Woo-jin, one of the most flexible players in the game, and with An Jae-hyun on through to the next round. Korea's got some, well, strong representatives here. I think with big brother Lee Sang-soo being still in wonderful form, and An Jae-hyun playing some of the best table tennis since 2019. Jang Woo-jin is always tough to get through. I think many players who are stars in the world have been beaten by Jang Woo-jin.
That's coming up next. But now, what has Hana Goda got? Oh, she got that.
Where? But where? This is highlight reel material. The fastest long serve we've seen to the backhand, and a no-look down the line seatbelt shot. This is swag. Every angle, please. Oh, okay, we'll get more. Gotta see that one again.
Look at
and again.
Xiaoxiao's reaction as well.
Yeah.
Beautifully captured. This is what she needed. This is what the timeout was meant to do.
Channeling her inner Adriana Diaz there, Hana Goda, for that highlight point moments ago.
But she's up against Xiaoxia. She can pull out the great shot every now and then, but there's a consistency of performance that she's finding very, very hard to break down.
This was a little next level. She added an extra, who knows, 10% it felt like in terms of physicality there. Xiaoxia turning for that forehand a second time.
4-5.
Good variation in the serve, a bit more central on the table here, still on the longer side of half long, but just that, half long, to keep it uncomfortable.
Yeah, how she'll wish she can get back to that first game. A 100% serve win percentage over the course of a game. That was extraordinary.
11-3 is quite a statement.
5.
She draws level, and it has to happen.
And what I like about this point is the footing here. Hana Goda gets Sun Yingsha to look uncomfortable for the briefest of moments on the serve, and then the follow-up ball, she never really found her footing again. That's credit to Hana Goda for playing very unpredictable patterns. Very rare to see. At least Xiaoxia being wrong-footed.
Stinging exchange. She comes back. You might wrong foot the world number one briefly, but she then gives you a reminder of what she's about.
Right, it's that ability to quickly adapt, the speed of learning here.
But she's learning all the time too, Hana Goda. And whatever happens here, and it looks as if she may well exit this event, she has served notice once again about her prodigious talent.
Plenty of motivation out here when you've got a target as big as Xiaoxia does on her back. The world number one has the entire food chain behind her, chasing and trying to get some points, trying to cause, well, just enough stress for the opponent to make a dent in that nearly flawless record.
6-7.
She's not going away just yet, Hana Goda. And you feel this one might just come down to those tight moments at the end of the game. And if that happens, remember, when you're racing to the best of 5, this is when players like Yingsha are at their most vulnerable. Now that hasn't happened in a while. Trading blows and the Egyptian winning the point.
Backhand to backhand, it's tough, but it's just a statement to how much Hana Goda has improved. I think we also, as we've mentioned a few times, last time they played, it went to game number 5. Stolen from the baseline, Shasha making a very keen observation that she had the opportunity and executes with not a lot of wiggle room right there. That wraparound too finishes near the left shoulder as opposed to the forehead. Shasha abbreviating her stroke, adding a little bit of side spin with that top. Ma Lin can barely sit still. He can't contain himself.
7-9.
Well, the body language exaggerated there from Hana, but she was clearly taken aback. A ball that got big on her.
We saw that strawberry side spin with the underspin as well from Hana Goda. Shasha adapting well as she does.
And she's on the brink now. Yingsha. 3 match points now for the world #1. Oh, she can't do it. Way back off the table. And as a result of that, it is Yingsha who progresses, and she'll take on either Fuyu or she'll take on Yuan Jianan in the round of 32. But how about that start? She came out of the blocks like an absolute rocket, Hana Goda. 11-3 in the first behind an invincible serve. But it was Shasha who took that on board, who found her way, and who has suppressed, at times, a seemingly irrepressible Egyptian. That's just the measure of the world #1.
Yeah, we're looking at a bright star here in Hana Goda. Right now, the leading lady for Egypt has been on the scene since she was pre-teen, taking on some of the biggest celebrities in Africa. But here, the biggest celebrity in the game, the queen for what now, 161 weeks?
Yeah.
Can't wait for Tuesday to see the world rankings after Yokohama. That will come into effect very soon. Today's Monday, so as soon as the clock strikes, just keep your eyes on it. Asian time, I believe, but Shasha showing and proving that even after an 11-3 defeat in game #1, she can completely turn things around from 100 to 50%. The serves of Hana Goda, that is adjustment from a very sharp student. And I think that's an important thing to mention, that even at 161 weeks at world #1, she is very much a student of the game and constantly studying.
And she's also just improved on that already staggering WTT win percentage.